Well, Hughesy, pleasure to have you with us on the journey for the 2022-23 Championship campaign. We're just a couple of weeks away from pre-season beginning. What's your thoughts going into the new season?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Spoken to all the boys, and it sounds like we're going to have a fairly similar squad going into next year, which I think is really important for continuity. At the start of last season, it was quite a lot of new faces. So this year, hopefully there's going to be quite a similar bounce in the squad, so we can get kicked off straight away from day one of pre-season, which I think will be really good.
You've sort of seen the club in three different stages. You came as a Northampton player. You then came as a permanent player, but amidst about 18 new different faces, even though you had that previous experience from the campaign before. Now, so much continuity. So far, we've only announced 2 new faces, and there's not too many more to follow. What sort of difference do you think that's going to give us next season? Because we're not spending the whole of pre-season learning each other's names, learning the calls, learning how each player scrummages. How much of a difference do you think that's going to be going into next season?
I think that's a massive difference. I think you can sign any player you want, but team spirit is a massively undervalued thing, I think, now. And we really got that going towards the end of last year, and that especially after that Jersey Boxing Day game, I think everyone really came together then, and we sort of all realised there's something quite special in the group. Like and I think we've got to get out the habit of saying on our day we can beat anyone, but I think that's got to be the mindset next year. With that team, we know how each other play. We're all again really good mates off the field. We all go for beers together after games and stuff. So no, I think it's a massive thing that the squad's going to be fairly similar, and hopefully that will reflect in results next year.
Anyone that was at the end of season dinner knows you love a social. That element started to come back actually last season. When you think about the culture here at Bedford Blues, how important was that sort of on-field and off-field merged together, and we were back to a bit more normality than your first season when you were here on loan from Northampton?
Yeah, that's a massive thing. When I was on loan at Northampton, we came in, we didn't gym obviously with the Bedford lads. We had our own changing room, and then off the field, we weren't allowed to go and have a beer until I think it was the last day of the season. We shared the first beer as a team. But now Mike and Robbo and all the staff behind the scene are massive. That they encourage that, and I think that helps us on the field, if that makes sense. So the off the field being together, the gelling, having a beer and a laugh makes for good results on the field. And yeah, I think that's a massive thing. And Bedford are great at that.
How do you reflect on your career so far with us at Bedford Blues?
Well, so when I joined on loan, I got those 5 games in towards the end of that COVID season, and then obviously signing permanently at the start of last season. I was really happy with the season I've had. It's I played every game in the league bar the one I missed for COVID, and that's the first time I've ever done that since school. At school level I was playing every week, and that was last season was the first time I knew I was going to be playing at the end of the week. And I think that's a massive thing as a player, to know you're going to play at the end of the week. You can get your mindset straight from the start of the week, and it helps with your preparation. And I've probably got to prove it to Mike that last year that it wasn't just I can back it up this year with my performance on the field, and hopefully improve on this season.
Talk about that. Lots of game time. I guess it was your versatility that helped you in that at times. Also covering the back row. How do you find that as a player when they're 2 different positions, and you probably went into a Thursday training session not knowing which role you were going to be required to do? How tough is that as a player when you've got so much versatility?
Yeah, when towards the end of that season, that's when I started playing in the back row a bit. And Mike and Sean have both said to me, we see you as a hooker primarily, but in that scenario, I needed to help the team out for a couple of games at the back row. So, it's fun playing back row. I think it's every front rower's dream to eventually move to the back row. But I know it's definitely if the team need me to play there, I'll do that. But I'm focused on next year on trying to get as many games as I can at hooker. That's probably the aim.
You've spoken about backing up last season, this season. What's your personal targets for the 2022-23 campaign?
I'd probably try and show to Mike and the coaches how I can be the number one hooker. You know, we've had good competition this year with Cubby and Big Z. And, you know, Cubby's a great player, so hopefully, you know, sharing that workload at hooker, getting some more regular starts at hooker, and hopefully scoring a few more tries.
Yeah, I mean, that is one thing that, you know, synonymous with your position, but actually don't score the way conventional hookers normally do off the back of a maul. You know, you have done that as well, but there's been some unbelievable dives in the corner. You've spoken about that rugby league influence on your game as well. Does that kind of show through when you're trying to score your, you know, dives around in the corner that, you know, Dean Adamson would be proud of?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's coming more into rugby union now. You see more of the spectacular finishes that have sort of come over from rugby league. But no, it's sort of when I'm near the trial, I sort of try and get to a mindset is I'm going to score here. That London Scottish game was a highlight, even though there were a few dubious remarks about a knock on. It definitely wasn't a knock on. But no, it's something I feel I can bring to it as an edge to my game. Hopefully showing, you know, the coach and stuff that I can near the line, I can finish a try. So I think that's a good edge to have to your game.
Yeah, and how important is it to have different factors? So you and Cubby are different in the way you go into a game and how you play the game, which I guess when you're both on the same team, that's perfect because you've got so many different options that we can use.
Yeah, I guess that's Mike can strike a balance for where he sees fit. Cubby's a great defender, probably the best in our team. Is low centre of gravity and stuff. And I'd say that my attacking game is probably what I pride myself on. But also, I think I've developed a lot this year defensively as well. You know, there's a few games. Doncaster at home was I'm pretty sure as a whole team we had to defend for 80% of that game, and then the chances we got to launch and beat them that day, we probably were in possession for only 30% of that game. So I think I can bring both attack and defence to the party, but I think a lot of people enjoy attacking, and I certainly do.
You've seen the club lay some building blocks already. That first season didn't quite go as well as we thought. Good season last season, I guess. Is the target for the team that you continually progress, or you're keeping on moving up the ladder?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's got to be the target to improve on this year's finish. It would be nice for there to be slightly more incentives for us to finish in the top four. I mean, yeah, it's a nice aim to have, but it'd be nice for them to bring back a playoff structure or system for us to really aim for. I think that creates healthy competition, because while we're going to be going out there trying to win every game, I think it would help if there was some sort of structure in place where, you know, if we finished in the top four, we'd get a crack at on a one-off game or a couple of one-off games that we'd have a chance of doing something. But no, we'll definitely be trying to finish in that top four and see what happens.
It's fair to say that you've gone well here at Bedford. Supporters have taken to you really well. It's always the way I end these sort of interviews. What's your special message to our supporters going into the 2022-23 campaign?
The special message is probably keep as you are, keep going as you are, because I'm sure when all the other championship teams come here, you know, in their team talk, there's going to be a big crowd, and you know, it's no coincidence that, I mean, our home form wasn't as good as we liked last year, but it does really help. I remember that Doncaster and the Jersey Boxing Day game, right on the knife edge, both those games, and it's the fans, you know, after the game and in the game who help us on. And, you know, even after some of our poor performances, I remember Ampthill at home this year, they're still there at the end of the game. You know, they'll have a chat, you know, knowledgeable fans who, you know, understand it's not our week every week. But no, hopefully I'll see you again there next year starting with our pre-season games.